for coming to AnimalCon 2022. Do you mind introducing yourself and telling us who you're here with?
Absolutely. I'm Phil Goss. I'm president of the United States Association of Reptile Keepers, better known as USARK.
And can you tell us, for those who don't know, what USARK does?
USARK is a national advocacy protecting people's freedoms to responsibly keep reptiles and amphibians as pets.
And there was something that you guys recently drew a lot of attention to help in Congress. Do you mind giving a quick explanation of what you guys did with that?
Of course. So recently, 2022, we stopped a big piece of federal legislation that were amendments to the Lacey Act. If those had passed, they actually would have made it illegal to transport certain species of animals across state lines, as well as created a white list where the United States Fish and Wildlife Service would have told us what we could import into the country. So it would have affected millions of Americans, and it was great for all those who contact their legislators and help to stop that legislation.
And there's been some other major legislation throughout time that you guys have helped too. For people who don't realize how important USARK is to our industry, you guys helped with the Lacey Act many years ago, right?
Yes, so we had a 3.5-year federal lawsuit, which cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that made it legal to transport certain species of animals across state lines. For reptile and amphibian keepers, it currently allows 201 species of salamanders to be transported across state lines. Also, reticulated pythons are one of the species of snakes that are listed, and these were isolated issues to maybe southern Florida. There was no reason the rest of the U.S. should have been affected, so that's why we filed the lawsuit. 3.5 years later, we won, so thanks to everyone who supported us and made that possible.
As the president, what's your day look like?
USARK is not as exciting as, the people creating social media content, so I'm a lobbyist. What USARK is known for is we find the bad legislation that's floating around out there at the local, state, and federal level. We put out alerts that make it really easy for people to get engaged and fight these things or support them. If it's one of those rare instances, we get to support a bill. And obviously we do the lobbying and the legwork. So we go to DC, we go to state capitals, we talk at hearings, we write substantive comments. So we do all kinds of stuff behind the scenes that you may not seen, as well as putting out those alerts and finding the bad legislation.
You've got a reptile background.
Oh, absolutely. So I've actually been breeding reptiles, so keeping longer, but I've been breeding reptiles since 1997. So the first species I produced was a small little gold dust day gecko. But I've been producing boa constrictors and blue-tongued skinks for over 15 years and actually bred dozens of species. Did
you know when you were a kid that you wanted to go into the animal industry or into the lobbying industry?
Oh, no, definitely not the lobbying industry. That, again, this just kind of happened. But yeah, I was just a kid who spent most of my time outside, and I was always catching animals, and it's probably my parents' fault because I remember I caught a non-venomous northern banded water snake, a baby one, as a kid, and my mom told me I couldn't keep it. So it's probably her fault because she wouldn't let me keep that first snake that I got obsessed with snakes. And I was just always fascinated with animals in general and especially reptiles.
And then now you're in a very important role in the reptile industry.
Yeah, it's so important for USARK. And even if you're not an animal person, it's just the government should not come in and tell a responsible person what he or she cannot do. And that's who USARK fights for. We try and stop those things from happening, from government overreach telling us, again, if you're going to be responsible, you still can't do this. That's not acceptable.
Do you have any closing thoughts?
Just check us out if you're not a member or if you don't follow us, usark.org. We're also on social media platforms, so you can follow us there, especially on Facebook. Please share our alerts if they come up. That's something you can do that costs no money, but it helps get awareness out there. And just support us and talk about us. If you're a creator, it's great that you talk about USARK because, again, that helps bring awareness to us. And thanks everyone who supports us and follows us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.